What's going on? As you guys know, if you've watched a handful of my videos, that my diet is emphasized on nutrient density, and that's really it. I consume what foods have the most vitamins and minerals, and the food, to my understanding, that is the best in any regard than a nutritionally complete food is salmon roe. So, and not necessarily salmon roe, but all types of fish roe. It's just salmon roe tends to be one of the easiest to access in large amounts. And in the near future, maybe in towards the end of the summer, I will be doing maybe an only salmon roe diet. But in the interim, I'm just increasing my consumption of it. That mainly because salmon roe is, well, salmon is fished from like mid-July through I don't know, end of August-ish to October-ish. You can't really get it at any other times of the year. And I ordered some that's flash frozen, so we're just going to take a look at it and I'm going to talk about it more. Because in my opinion, it really is, you know, if you're a pregnant nursing mother, if you have a kid, you should be eating this food every day. I think everyone should be eating this food every day in some capacity. And if you can't eat salmon roe, whole fish is just as good. The only problem is, the only downside is, it's a lot easier to eat salmon roe than it is to eat mackerel guts. That being said, I think mackerel fillet is tastier than salmon roe, so it kind of evens out. Some people like this stuff. I'm not too much of a fan, but in regards to nutrient content, I can't really. So this is Alaskan salmon roe. I mean, usually it's coming out of Washington or Alaska, at least to my knowledge. Maybe, I mean, honestly, there's probably some Russian wholesaler that I don't know about that I should probably be going through, because they sell it for dirt cheap to stay frozen solid, and they ship this as the sacks. This is cool. See? So these are really big. I mean, not I can't really judge the color right now, but it looks more orange as opposed to deep red. So I'm assuming this is either I'm not sure. I'm assuming this is sockeye salmon roe. But yeah, so we got I don't know if these are flesh frozen in 1 pound bag. Interestingly enough, there's no ice in here, but they don't actually have to put ice in here if they're shipping overnight. So they actually sent me a pound extra because the seal, I'm assuming because the seal is broken on this. But what I'm going to do is I'll thaw this out and I'll eat some of this for you guys. Very deep red. Like, this is as deep of a red as you can get. I mean, it's definitely sockeye salmon roe, signified by the color. There's a membrane on the outside, because when I'm poking these and the eggs aren't coming out. So we're just going to open this up and take a look. And you know, salmon roe probably is the most beautiful food, at least in its organic state. Let me just use my fingers here. Just like really deep red pearls. Let me see if I can get a whole one. It's hard to see, but like if you guys buy these and look like up close in person, you can kind of almost see the little fish swimming in the eggs. But that's not the point of this video. So in regards to the smell, since normally this stuff is really pungent, and I mean, because most of the time you're eating this, it's like it's been cured. Since this is flash frozen, it doesn't have too much of a smell. Very, very fresh. Just that, like, that salmony, I hate to use the word salmony, but that's what, you know, salmon has a unique smell, and that's what it smells like. So we're just going to take a try of this, and it looks like I'm going to have to have some of the membrane with it. So, if you guys have any doubts about me, my nutritional philosophies, you know, me thinking that fish eggs are the healthiest thing that you can eat, literally the healthiest food you can eat, do this. Go buy some salmon roe, preferably in the membrane. Now, I didn't know this until just now, because the only fish I've eaten out of a membrane has been like the target. It was dried or something. But just like chicken eggs, there's this, it's that yolky richness, that cholesterol in the membrane that you don't get with regular salmon roe. Now I don't know if that's just because some of the eggs have bursted, but I've eaten every type of salmon roe there is, canned, fresh, but none in the membrane like this. And you guys could just see how rich that is. You know, it's all over my hands. So I was never much of a fan of salmon roe before I tried this. Now, I will say that it's not as good as bone marrow, but it's a close second. It's up there with like egg yolks, bone marrow, all my favorite foods. I've been eating too much salt lately, but for the purpose of this video, I'll put a little bit of salt on 1 teaspoon. Definitely unexpected. I didn't think I was gonna like it that much. Now, if I didn't have 50 pounds of beef in my fridge, I would say full steam ahead with the salmon roe diet. So I guess my plan is I'm gonna finish up all this beef. Maybe take me 2-3 months to finish up the beef. Then we'll get like maybe 100 pounds of salmon roe or something wacky like that. Maybe like 50 pounds. Yeah, we'll do 50 pounds of salmon roe. And then we'll do a salmon roe only diet for a little while. If I buy that much salmon roe, ideally what I would like to do is consume salmon roe while it's in season. I mean, either way it's going to be flash frozen. I want to consume some when it's in season, and then buy a bunch at the end of the season so it lasts me till next season. So we'll probably run the only salmon roe diet from like fall to like winter, and perhaps indefinitely, I don't know. See what happens. But thank you guys for watching. You know, there's some Washington purveyors, there's some Alaskan purveyors, but generally speaking, you know, this stuff is usually around like $15 a pound plus. So, you know, although it's not cheap, if you only eat a 1/4 pound of it a day, which is what I plan on doing. Since it's so nutrient dense, I think I'll only have to eat like a 1/4 to a 1/2 pound of it a day at most. So I don't really see $5 or $7 a day being too much to spend on salmon roe. And if you guys have ever had canned salmon roe, this is a completely different food. If you guys have ever had fresh salmon roe, lightly cured, this is a completely different food. The membrane, and there's just something about it that it's a completely, you know, I wouldn't even want to call it salmon caviar or salmon roe. Just flash frozen fresh, it's a completely different world.